This story is based on real reports from a place in Utah known as Skinwalker Ranch, a place where animals don't behave like animals, where shadows don't belong to anything you can see, and where something has been watching for a very long time. If you're alone right now, you might want to keep the lights on, because tonight you're going to hear what really happened on Skinwalker Ranch. In the summer of 1996, the Sherman family moved into a quiet ranch in northeastern Utah. It was peaceful, wide open land, endless sky, and not a neighbor in sight for miles. For them, it felt like a fresh start. Terry Sherman stepped out of his truck, looking across the land he now owned. Cattle grazed slowly in the distance. The wind barely moved. Everything felt normal, at least, at first. It happened just a few days after they moved in. Terry was outside, fixing a fence, when the dog started barking. Not normal barking, aggressive, terrified. He turned and saw something standing near the edge of the property. At first, it looked like a wolf, but as it stepped closer, he realized it was way too big. This thing was nearly the size of a small bear. Its eyes locked onto him, and it didn't move like an animal. It just stood there, watching. Terry grabbed his rifle. Slowly, carefully, he approached it. The creature didn't run, didn't growl, didn't even blink. It just stared. Then something strange happened. One of the calves walked up to the creature, like it wasn't afraid, like it was being controlled. The creature leaned down and grabbed the calf with its jaws. Terry fired once, twice, 3 times. Any normal animal would have dropped instantly, but this thing didn't react. No sound, no movement, no pain. It simply let go of the calf, turned, and walked away into the darkness, like nothing happened. After that night, everything changed. The animals started acting wrong. Cows would gather together, staring at nothing. Dogs refused to go outside after sunset, and every night, the Shermans heard footsteps around the house, slow, heavy, circling. One night, Terry opened the door, ready to confront whatever it was. But outside, there was nothing, just darkness and silence. Until he looked up. Far in the distance, floating above the field, was a light, blue, bright, hovering, watching. At first, they thought it was just some kind of aircraft. Maybe a helicopter, maybe a drone. But this was 1996, and nothing moved like that back then. The light didn't blink, didn't make a sound. It just hovered, perfectly still. Then, slowly, it began to move. Not forward, not backward, but sideways, like it wasn't affected by gravity. Terry called his wife. She stepped outside and froze, because as they watched, the light suddenly split into 2, and then both lights disappeared instantly, like someone turned them off. That's when they knew this place was not normal. But what they didn't know yet was that this was just the beginning, because something was already inside the ranch, watching them, learning, waiting. And what happened next was far worse than anything they had seen so far. Animals would be found, mutilated, without a single drop of blood. Shadows would appear where no one stood. And one night, something would come right up to their window. It started early one morning. Terry walked out toward the field, expecting a normal day. But something felt off, too quiet. No wind, no animal sounds, nothing. Then he saw it. One of the cows, lying on the ground, perfectly still. As he got closer, his stomach dropped. The cow was dead, but not in any normal way. There was a clean, precise cut around one of its eyes, another around its jaw, and something even worse. There was no blood, not on the ground, not on the body, nowhere. It looked surgical, like something had removed parts of the animal with impossible precision. And then Terry noticed something else. No tracks, no footprints, no signs of struggle. It was like whatever did this never touched the ground. That night, the dog started barking again, louder than ever, panicked, desperate. Terry grabbed a flashlight and ran outside. The barking was coming from a small trailer near the edge of the property. As he got closer, the barking suddenly stopped. Completely. That silence was worse than the noise. He opened the trailer door, and what he saw inside stayed with him forever. The dogs were gone, not escaped, not hiding, gone. And inside the trailer, there was a smell, a strong, metallic smell. Terry shined his flashlight around, and that's when he saw it. On the floor, there were dark marks burned into the surface, like something extremely hot had been there. But again, no blood, no struggle, nothing. A few nights later, Terry's son, Colby, was outside, just for a moment. That's all it took. He later said he felt like someone was watching him, not from far away, but close, very close. He turned around and froze. Standing near the tree line was a figure, tall, completely black, no face, no features, just a shape. It didn't move, didn't make a sound. Colby couldn't even breathe. And then the figure took a step forward. That's when Colby ran, as fast as he could, back to the house. When Terry went outside to check, there was nothing there. But near the trees, he found something strange. Marks in the ground, deep, like something heavy, had been standing there for a long time, watching. One night, Terry saw the lights again, but this time, they were closer. Not in the sky, not far away, right there, in the field. A glowing orange light, floating just above the ground. He stared at it, trying to understand what he was seeing. And then, something impossible happened. From inside the light, something came out, a shape, moving, crawling, out of the air itself. It dropped onto the ground and ran, fast, too fast. Terry couldn't even process it. It was like a doorway had opened, and something came through. By now, the Shermans were living in constant fear. They stopped going outside at night, locked every door, kept lights on, all the time. But it didn't matter, because whatever was out there didn't need permission to come close. Footsteps continued every single night. Sometimes they heard breathing right outside the windows, slow, heavy, inhuman. And once, just once, Terry looked out at exactly the wrong moment, because standing just a few feet away, in the darkness, were two glowing eyes, not moving, not blinking, just staring directly at him. At this point, they wanted to leave, but it wasn't that simple, because soon others would arrive, scientists, investigators, people who wanted proof, and what they would discover on Skinwalker Ranch would be far more terrifying than anyone expected. Word about the ranch spread quietly, not in the news, not publicly, but among certain people who studied things that didn't have easy explanations. Soon, a group of investigators arrived, scientists, researchers, observers. They didn't come for stories, they came for proof. Cameras were installed, motion sensors placed across the land, night vision equipment, thermal scanners. everything they could use to capture whatever was out there. At first, nothing happened. Days passed, then weeks. It almost felt like whatever was out there knew they were being watched. It happened just after midnight. One of the motion sensors triggered. A camera near the far end of the field started recording. At first, there was nothing, just the empty land, dark, silent. Then suddenly, a shape appeared, not walking into frame, not running. It was just there, tall, thin, completely black, the same figure Colby had described. But this time, it was caught on camera. The investigators watched in silence as the figure slowly turned toward the camera. And then it vanished, not fading, not running, just gone, like it was never there. After that night, things started going wrong. Cameras stopped working, batteries drained instantly. Even brand new equipment would fail without warning. One investigator reported that his radio started picking up voices, not static, not interference, voices, whispering. He couldn't understand the words, but he knew one thing. They weren't human. One evening, the team decided to stay outside and observe the cattle. Everything seemed normal until one of the cows suddenly froze. It didn't move, didn't react. Then slowly, it turned its head toward the darkness. The others followed, every single animal staring in the same direction. And then, something moved, fast, a blur, crossing the field in seconds. The investigators ran toward it, flashlights shaking, hearts racing. But when they reached the spot, there was nothing there except one thing. The ground was burned, perfectly circular, like something had landed there, or something had opened. That night, they decided to review all the footage, hours of recordings, most of it empty, until they found something, a clip, recorded just minutes before the field incident. The video showed the ranch, still, quiet, and then the same orange light appeared, hovering, but this time, it didn't stay small. It grew wider, brighter, until it looked like a hole in reality itself. And inside that light, there was movement, multiple shapes, not one, not two, many, moving, like they were trying to come through. The footage cut out, completely. At this point, the investigators came to a conclusion. This wasn't just a haunted place. It wasn't just creatures, or ghosts, or lights. It was something else, something bigger, like the ranch itself was a doorway, a place where things could cross over, and whatever was coming through wasn't supposed to be here. After that night, everything escalated. More sightings, more disappearances, more fear, and eventually, the Sherman family made a decision. They couldn't stay there anymore, but leaving wouldn't end the story, because what they experienced didn't stay on the ranch. After months of fear, the Sherman family made their decision. They were leaving. No more nights filled with footsteps. No more watching lights in the sky. No more waiting for something to appear in the dark. They packed everything, didn't say goodbye, didn't look back, because deep down, they felt something disturbing, like the ranch was watching them leave. Their new house was miles away, a normal place, neighbors nearby, streetlights, noise, life. Everything felt safe again, for a while. The first few nights were quiet. No footsteps, no shadows, no glowing eyes, just silence, peaceful silence. But then, something small happened. One night, Terry woke up suddenly, not because of a sound, but because of a feeling. That same feeling he had on the ranch, like someone was watching him. He sat up slowly, looked around the room. Nothing. Then he turned toward the window and froze. Outside, in the darkness, were two faint lights, not bright, not glowing like before, but there, watching, the exact same way they had on the ranch. Terry didn't move, didn't speak, because in that moment, he understood something. They didn't leave it behind. It followed them. A few nights later, something happened that Terry would never forget. He was alone in the living room, late, around 3 a.m. The house was silent. Then suddenly, he heard it, a sound coming from the hallway, slow footsteps, heavy, exactly like the ones from the ranch. Terry stood up, heart pounding. Every instinct told him not to go toward it, but he did, step by step. He walked closer to the hallway. The sound stopped. Complete silence. He reached the corner and looked. Nothing, just darkness. But as he turned to go back, he heard something right behind him, breathing, close, too close. Terry turned instantly, and for a split second, he saw it, a tall, black figure standing inside his house. And then it was gone. After that night, the activity slowly stopped. No more footsteps, no more lights, no more figures. But Terry never felt safe again, because he realized something terrifying. Whatever they experienced was never tied to the ranch. It wasn't the land. It wasn't the house. It was them. Something had noticed them, watched them, and for a brief time, followed them. To this day, no one can fully explain what happened on Skinwalker Ranch. Some say it's paranormal. Some say it's extraterrestrial. Some believe it's something even worse, a place where reality itself doesn't behave the way it should. And maybe, just maybe, some doors aren't meant to be opened. Because once something comes through, you never really know if it's gone or if it's still out there, watching.